This is the 3D VIEW-MASTER story Tarzan of the Apes. Tarzan finds a son. Many years ago, an English couple left to die on the savage shores of West Africa rejoiced at the birth of a son. Not long after, a tribe of huge apes killed both the mother and the father. The orphan baby boy was adopted by Kela, the she-ape, and brought up as her own because it lacked the black, shaggy hair of the apes. It was called the white-skinned, in ape language, Tarzan. At 10, Tarzan was as strong as a man and could swing through the tangled vines and limbs with the speed of a monkey. No footstep on the softest jungle carpet was too light to go undetected by his keen hearing. No shadow was too dark for his sharp eyes, and the wind brought his jungle-sharpened sense of smell, sense of Bara, the deer, and of Numa, the lion, stalking its kill. Growing into full muscular strength, Tarzan, using a knife to offset the ape's terrible fangs, defeated Kerchak, the king of the apes. He hunted cheetah, the leopard, and Numa, the lion, with only a knife and a twisted grass rope. And alone of all the jungle animals, made friends with Tandor, the elephant. Tarzan learned to read from an illustrated dictionary in his father's cabin. He ventured into civilization, having many adventures, but preferred to live in the jungles with his adopted tribe of Waziri warriors. VIEW-MASTER Reel 1. Picture 1. Little Tandor, the elephant, wandered alone through the tall jungle grasses in search of succulent greens. Suddenly, a wild outcry nearby startled him. The sound spelled trouble even to the baby elephant, and little Tandor knew he should flee to Tandor's side. Tarzan was astride the big elephant not far away, but curiosity won the battle with caution. Little Tandor glided noiselessly towards the cries, now stilled. In a little clearing, little Tandor came upon tragedy, a jungle murder. A male and female of Tarzan's race lay dead, pierced by native arrows. And worse still, a war-painted savage was advancing on the little boy who kneeled crying beside his dead parents. Picture 2. Little Tandor squealed furiously, and the savage fled in fright. But now the little elephant's courage failed him. He, too, fled, his stout little legs covering the ground at an unbelievable pace. He raised his short trunk and trumpeted shrilly until he heard a deeper trumpeting ahead. Slipping and sliding down a little canyon where Tarzan sat astride Tandor, the elephant, the baby elephant snorted out his message. "Little white ape in danger! Make speed!" Tarzan cried to the large elephant. "Follow little Tandor!" No animal could travel the jungle forest faster than Tarzan, but through the dense grasses, Tandor's great bulk could push through even faster than Tarzan. Picture 3. The murderous natives, frightened by little Tandor, still wanted to rob their victims. One finally cautiously returned. finding no sign of life except a small boy grieving over his dead parents. The native became very brave indeed. Hearing a sound behind him, the boy sprang to his feet and ran to hide in the tall grass. In his haste he fell. With one lithe pounce, the native was upon him. The boy fought silently, desperately, but the outcome was certain. A long knife flashed upward in the sun. Before the death-dealing blow could be struck, Tantor and Tarzan crashed into the clearing. Tantor's trunk darted out and with a bone-cracking grip stopped the descending arm. Picture 4. Tantor held the native easily, while Tarzan tied him securely. The frightened, grief-stricken boy took Tarzan's hand and looked up at him. Tarzan remembered how he had felt when a poisoned arrow had killed the only mother he had ever known, Kala, the she-ape. He knew that now no words could help. The boy must perform a sad duty. "I am Tarzan," he said quietly. "What is your name?" "Tommy," said the boy, in a quavering voice. "We must bury them, Tommy. Later a safari will be sent to take them home." Tarzan, Tommy, and Cheetah, the chimpanzee, scooped out 2 graves and erected wooden crosses over them. As they knelt for a moment of farewell, 2 dozen natives crept up on them. Picture 5. Tarzan's jungle-trained hearing warned him of the danger. Whirling, he cried to Tommy to run. Then he became a jungle beast fighting for his life, strong as a lion, quick as a gazelle. With a savage smile on his lips, he raised one native high above his head. The terrifying victory cry of the bull ape broke from his lips as he dashed the native down, bowling over the one Cheetah had jumped on. Picture 6. Luckily for Tarzan, Tommy had not run off. While the white giant disabled 3 or 4 more natives, another more cunning than the rest slipped behind him, a great knife upraised. Without a thought of his own danger, Tommy leaped on the back of the Steinway native. Yelling, "Look out, Tarzan!" Desperately, he wrestled with the native's knife arm while Tarzan spun around and put an end to the battle. With a powerful, bone-snapping twist, Tarzan disarmed the last remaining native. Picture 7. Now there was the problem of what to do about Tommy. Tarzan asked him, "Do you like the jungle?" Tommy, aged 7, replied with some dignity, "I've lived here all my life." Then live here with me. Live here with me. I will be your new father. I'll teach you the hidden ways of the jungle, how to track game by scent, how to travel the upper terraces like a monkey, how to conquer Numa and Sabor with only a knife and a rope. "Can I ride the little elephant just like you ride the big one?" cried Tommy. The boy rode off on little Tantor to begin a new life, but ever and ever again he saddened at the memory of the jungle murder. VIEW-MASTER Reel 2. Tarzan saves the jungle explorer. Tarzan's jungle friends. Tarzan knew all the animals of the jungle, from Hista, the snake, to Bolgani, the gorilla. In his youth, when he roamed the tangled tropic forests of Africa with his foster mother, Kayla, and the other great anthropoid apes. All the other animals were either his enemy or his prey. Only Tantor, the elephant, was the friend of his youth. Tarzan told many stories of taking showers of cool water sprayed from Tantor's trunk, of lazy rides through the jungle, rudely interrupted when a low branch would sweep him off a great grey back, or of taunting Cheetah, the leopard, from safety under Tantor's curving tusks. After Tarzan's adventures in civilization, he returned to the jungle to find other jungle friends. Saving a young chimpanzee from drowning, he gained the constant companionship of Cheetah. Perhaps the most spectacular of Tarzan's animal friends was Chatbalya, the golden lion. This great animal Tarzan found as a cub, whimpering beside its mother, who lay dead from the poison of a cannibal's arrow. Tarzan raised the lion with loving care. He was rewarded by gaining a friend and a pet the like of which no man ever before possessed. Chatbalya would heel like a great dog, or at Tarzan's command would launch forward to bring down the largest zebra for their evening dinner. Several times he had saved Tarzan's life, once from another lion when Tarzan was wounded. Picture 1. Dr. Van der Graaf, the famous explorer and expert on tropical diseases, headed a safari into Tarzan's country. The good doctor had chosen his native porters unwisely. Unknown to him, they had bargained with the Monumers, a cannibal tribe, to deliver a white man for their next feast in return for 5 ivory tusks. The Monumers stoked a fake attack not far from the borders of Tarzan's jungle kingdom, and as prearranged, the porters fled, leaving the doctor in the hands of the cannibals. The victim was tied to a tree, and the dance of death was started. The weird beat of the tom-tom afforded rhythm for the dancing savages, whose jubilant cries shattered the jungle stillness. Mock blows, knives whistling close, and spear thrusts stopping short taunted the writing doctor, who knew that soon the real blows could cut him to ribbons. Cheetah, the chimpanzee, attracted by the noise, stumbled upon the cannibal's dance. Once the Manimias had threatened to catch and eat Cheetah, and he had never forgiven them. Now he had caught them doing something Tarzan had forbidden. Picture 2. Cheetah raced through the tree tops to where Tarzan rested. He chattered so fast that he sounded like coconuts knocking together in a windstorm. But at last, in the language of the great apes, he said, "Smooth white ape in trouble. Apes who eat each other eat him." "Those Manimers," exploded Tarzan. "I made them promise never again to eat human flesh. Come, Cheetah, we'll teach them a lesson." Picture 3. As Tarzan sped through the trees, he voiced his ringing hunting call. Soon Chatbalya, the golden lion, bounded along below them. The sound of the drums told Tarzan that the beginning of the mutilation was not far off. Yet he and the lion must approach unseen. At the least sign of rescue, the cannibals would kill their victim. Silent as ghosts, the white giant and the great cat crept closer to the death dance. So hypnotized were the Monumers by the Hydus ritual that Tarzan and Chatbalya gained the tree where the explorer was tied before a native cried out, Tarzan, kill! Picture 4. Tarzan tore the spear from the hands of the cannibal who cried out, used its handle like a baseball bat to fell another, and then wrestled both to the ground. He called to Cheetah to loosen the explorer's bands, then leaped to meet the next attackers. Dr. Vandergraaf called out his thanks to his rescuers, but the only answer he got was the battle growls of the strange white giant, the deep roars of the terrible lion, and the chattering of the chimpanzee whose teeth tore deep. Picture 5. Tarzan, Tarzan, screamed Cheetah. Tarzan threw off another cannibal and looked up to see his small ape friend threatened by the long jungle knife of a frightened cannibal. There was no time to lose. Tarzan snatched up a loose spear and hurled it with all his force. Just as the knife seemed certain to finish Cheetah, the heavy spear, seeming to come out of nowhere, pierced the shoulder of his attacker, pinning him to the ground. Picture 6. The cannibals scattered before Tarzan's fighting crew. A mighty paw stroke of Yat-Palya would flip one 10 feet in the air. Cheetah's teeth meeting through the muscles of another's legs would send him screaming into the jungle. But it was Tarzan's deadly spear and lightning blows plus the unearthly animal roars that come from his lips as he fought and finally brought the lost cannibal to his knees in surrender. Picture 7. Great heavens! Exclaimed Dr. Vandergraaf. To what strange creatures do I owe my deliverance? Smiling, Tarzan introduced himself. I am Tarzan of the Apes, and this is Yat-Palya the lion. Cheetah, my chimpanzee friend, has gone after the cannibals to throw sticks and nuts at them after the manner of his kind. Tarzan, cried the doctor, I was headed for your jungle boma. I am Dr. Vandergraaf. Your friends in London said you would be able to help me in my study of jungle medicine. Come along, doctor, said Tarzan, offering his hand. The golden lion will guard us. Whatever remedies I have learned from the great apes and from the natives, I will share with you. Maybe you will make an important medical discovery. Reel 3. Tarzan rescues Numa, the lion. Tarzan the hunter. Tarzan, while still a boy living among the great apes, learned to hunt, first with a rope, then a knife, and, when a native tribe moved nearby, with a bow and spear. He hunted only to obtain food. He killed only in self-defense or for his next meal. Tarzan never grew used to the sport of hunting as practiced by a civilized man, slaughtering deer with a high-powered rifle just to obtain a set of horns for decorations. To Tarzan was not hunting. On his first contact with the civilization of white men, Tarzan told some hunters, "What does a brave man want with a gun? I hunt even the lion with a rope and a knife." They thought him either mad, or a preposterous liar. To prove his point, Tarzan slipped out of his clothes, melted into the night jungle, carrying only a rope and a knife, and an hour or so later returned with a giant lion. His particular hatred was a man, savage and civilized alike, who tortured animals. He had seen natives torture their victims before killing them, and white hunters who mistreated their animals. Inflicting needless pain was something he had never before encountered in the supposedly cruel jungle. He never understood it, never let an act of cruelty in his jungle go unpunished. Picture 1. Eric Malevich was a big game hunter who scoured the African jungles, caging animals for the big city zoos. To him, hunting was just a business. Knowing Tarzan's power and reputation, Eric usually stayed far away from his jungle domain. This time, however, he chanced to make camp not far from Tarzan's jungle boma. Tarzan was nearby when Eric caged Numa, the lion, killed off Sabor, the lioness, and was left with little Numa. Having no market for a lion cub this trip, Malevich shrugged his shoulders and raised his gun. It never occurred to him to just let the whimpering baby animal go its way. If he couldn't sell it, he'd kill it. Picture 2. Swinging high above the jungle floor, with Chatbalya, the golden lion, leaping along beneath him, Tarzan heard a shot and a wailing of little Numa. Tarzan leaped 30 feet, caught a high vine that swung him 100 feet in a swishing arc, at the end of which he sailed through the air for another breathtaking space, only to unwillingly catch a limb with he scampered along at top speed towards the sounds. It was not 2 minutes after the shot before he dropped silently to the ground before the cruel hunter. When Chatbalya, racing at full speed, arrived, Tarzan needed no help. He had already torn the gun from Malevich's hand, and in terrible anger had bent the cold steel into a quarter circle. Picture 3. "My gun!" cried Eric Malevich. "You've ruined my most expensive gun." "Hunter," Tarzan told him grimly, "you are lucky Tarzan did not seize you instead. The gun only bent, a body would have broken. Hunt no more in Tarzan's jungles. I will take the little Numa." When Tarzan turned away with the lion cub in his arms, Eric, with a low curse, plucked a pistol from his belt and fired at Tarzan's back. Tarzan fell to the ground unconscious. Sneering at the fool who turned his back on Eric Malevich, he seized the cub, saying, "Hellcat, a troublemaker like you needs a taste of the whip." Picture 4. Tarzan lay unconscious all day and night. Chatbalya stood watch over him angrily, crawling away, marauding beasts who scented a meal. When dawn came, he awoke weak from loss of blood. But the faithful lion brought down an antelope. After eating, Tarzan felt stronger. He made a bandage of leaves and was ready to go. From the tracks around the scene of the shooting, Tarzan quickly picked up the spoor of the cruel hunter. Picture 5. Moving slowly on the ground, Tarzan came upon the hunting camp. The scene that met his eyes made him forget his wound. Eric was prodding the caged lion cub with a sharp pole to make it scream in pain. He was taunting it. "Where's your Tarzan now? Hey, little cat, take that!" Here he dug a pole in the cob's side, bringing forth another scream. "Scream louder! Tarzan can't quite hear you!" Eric's cruel laughter ceased when a hand crushed his shoulder, and he was spun around to hear. "Tarzan hears everything, coward!" Picture 6. In frantic desperation, Eric dived for his gun. Tarzan, playing him as a cat would a mouse, let him reach it. Eric tried to turn it on, this terrifying apparition that he had left for dead, only to have giant hands clamp down on the barrel of the gun and crush him back into a tree trunk. "Now, my brave hunter," Tarzan said, "we'll give you a taste of your own medicine." Picture 7. Unfastening the cage, Tarzan let the little humor out. Then Eric Malevich was pushed in. "Now we've got the right animal in the cage, eh? Chatbalya?" laughed Tarzan. The lion tossed its mane and growled in agreement. "What are you going to do with me?" asked Eric, suddenly panic striking behind the bars. Tarzan, no longer smiling, addressed him. "You will get a taste of what your animals endure. For 2 days you will live in this cage. Since I go now to fetch my Vasiri warriors, you can probably free yourself from the cage. Chatbalya, the golden lion, will wait nearby, hoping you do. My warriors will bear you to the coast in a smaller cage and put you aboard the first ocean steamer." Now Tarzan's voice grew deadly serious. "Ex-hunter, if you ever return to Africa, Tarzan will hear of it. Perhaps by that time the little Numa will be trained to hunt and will enjoy tracking down the killer of its mother."